Welcome back, guys. I hope you're getting a lot of really good content. The final business Q&A video, we've got a lot to cover here. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what I would have changed, what I would have done differently if I could do it all over again. Then we're going to go over my albums a little bit. We're going to talk about when a client says, you know, your pictures are too risque or not risque enough. You kind of talk to your ideal client about what you shoot. We're going to cover the album company that I use, how I present my packages, what if your client isn't okay with nudity, how my pricing structure works, and the best way to get started even if you have no idea what you're doing. So that'll wrap up the entire business Q&A, and we'll get into shooting after this video. I'll see you then.
Looking back at it, once you got into boudoir, what do you wish you would have started earlier, or maybe would have changed along the process and maybe left out?
That's a good question. The first thing that I would have started sooner is it's really hard when you first start to pay for advertising, and you don't have to. There's a lot of people that that are able to do this with like zero paid advertising. There's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. But for me, last year I started doing Yelp advertising. It's like $300 a month, but I've had some of my absolute highest paying clients. One client has paid for over a year's worth of advertising, just somebody who found me from Yelp. So getting a client to 2 to 3 from Yelp a month has been like amazing. You wouldn't assume so. I'd heard nothing but bad things from there. But I was like, maybe I'll try it and see, because you can listen to other people's experiences, but for you it might be different. I think because it's so review based, that was really helpful. So for me, I wish I would have just tried things more instead of feeling like one person said it didn't work for them, so it's not going to work for me. So that's something that I would have done sooner. Let's see. I'm not sure if there's anything that I just straight up wouldn't have done. I probably would have gone to an additional workshop, just surrounded myself with more boudoir photographers.
Why is that?
Because I think you can kind of get inside your own head. You don't really know what is out there. For instance, like I've got this sign, it says "Welcome Sandy." When she comes up here, she's gonna see it. Oh my God, this is so cool. Like, I wouldn't have known that that's a way to personalize an experience unless I had met with other photographers and connected with them. This past year, I did a Boudoir Masterminds group where 5 photographers from all over the States. We met on Skype, on Google Hangouts twice monthly. And this is what I'm working on, this is a problem I'm having. And then we just all went around and everybody gave suggestions. We kind of all talked it out, came from different perspectives. It's great. It's just 4 or 5 people. You put it on your calendar, and then it's a safe place to ask those questions. And those other people know your company, and they know your brand, they know your progress. So that's a really incredible thing to do. I might have worked on getting features or just, again, building trust. I've got these Association of International Boudoir Photographer plaques. Like, I've got those on my website. When somebody comes in, they can see them, and that's an additional level of trust. Look, it's not just me, but I'm also recognized in these other places, So I think not just with reviews, but I think I would have probably made it more of an effort. I would have put before and afters on my website way sooner. I think those are some of the biggest. I had already shot video since I previously shot wedding videography before this. Like, I had a wedding videographer friend come out and shoot some video of me in this 40-second. Like, I didn't have anything in my studio. I had a futon and a sheet that went over it. Sometimes it was a couch, sometimes it was a bed. And like, that's it. That was it, my big blank room. And we did a behind the scenes video, but I posted it and people saw it, and people that I knew from years ago that I hadn't talked to in forever. Oh my God, I saw that you shot boudoir. My friend's getting married and she was mentioning this. Like, can I send her your way? So, I was pretty quick to put together a video. It was a terrible video. I hope nobody ever sees it. But for starting my career, putting something out there, that's the whole point. Is it doesn't have to be perfect.
Just start.
You just got to start. The number of photographers that I hear, hey, so I'm working on redesigning my space, and it's going to be a studio, and I'm going to have somebody to shoot, and we're going to get somebody in there. I haven't emailed anybody yet, but once I get my website up, well, how are you going to put your website up if you don't have anybody to put on it? Well, once I get my space perfect, like, how long is that going to take? Like, it ends up being so long before they get started, they sort of like talk themselves out of it. It's got to be perfect. Again, when I first started, I was shooting out of my home with a futon and a sheet, and that was like, I made an album and I had something to display, and that's how I started. And then a year and a half ago, I was living in a space that I didn't even have an air mattress. Like, we didn't have any pictures on a bed for like 8 months of shooting. That didn't stop me from booking clients and making money from those clients, and it didn't stop them from referring their friends. So, if you can give a good experience, then all the other little things in your head that say, like, I can't do this because, I can't do this because, I can't do this because, if you don't believe them, then your clients won't either. If that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, usually about this point, I would check on hair and makeup. So let's run down there real quick and see how they're doing and see how much longer they have, and we'll go from there. This one is the 10 by 10, so this is the medium one that I sell. These are from Floricolor. I'll talk to them and see if I can get any kind of discounts for whoever buys this course, but they come from Italy. It takes about 11 business days to get there. The print quality is really good. I do now with velvet paper that's just like, they're amazing. But I've had these albums for about 3 years. These were some of the first sample albums that I ever bought. They're still in incredible quality. My work is close enough to what it used to be that when clients flip through, they're not like, but these are all in my studio in Denver. But yeah, this is part of the pre-consult process. They come in, we flip through the albums, we talk about which pictures they love, why they love them, why they're amazing, and they're thick pages, and I've had these for a long time, and they're incredible quality, and the leather, and you just top them up as much as you can.
So is this kind of like a normal representation of what you're presenting to the client? And so here's a question, because like for me, like when I think boudoir, seeing nudity, which is beautiful, it's fine, but how does a client respond to that? Are some of them kind of like taken back? Are some of them?
Yeah.
And how do you respond to that?
Let me answer that question when Aaron comes out.
Okay, sorry.
But that's a really good question.
I was like, oh shit. Okay. I was not expecting that. Yeah, because it's interesting, and I'm not sure if you're still recording, but it was interesting because I was flipping through your Instagram and I had shared your profile with someone. Like, man, these are like super risque, like whatever. I'm like old boudoir kind of like ranges, and yours is definitely on the more edgy side of that, on that border. And I actually didn't recognize, and I'm sure some women want that, and it's fine, especially if it's like this is your craft, and it's awesome. I'm just curious what other people say about it.
Yeah.
How you're viewed about it.
It's so funny because everybody looks at their work differently. For me personally, when I see my stuff, I'm like, it's not that risque.
Yeah.
I look at, when I look at some other photographers, I'm like, man, that is like everything that sexy is, and I wish that I could shoot more like that. I think that and again, it's those different levels. Like some people are like, for some people, like risque to one person might be tame for another person.
Totally.
So again, whatever your brand is, if your brand is like real airy and like sitting on a bed in a, in your standard lingerie set with with mostly smiles, that's going to be one thing. Then another shot that's like a little dimmer, where a woman, it's implied nudity, and she's got her head back and her mouth open, her eyes closed, and she's grabbing the sheets. Like that says something completely different. And so one person might come in and be like, I want that picture. And another person might come in and say like, whoa, Don't take any pictures of me like that. Like I'm not taking off my bra. So it just varies from person to person.
You'll kind of tailor it to each one of them. Okay.
Yeah. If somebody comes in and says like, I want pretty much only an address, I'll be like, I don't think I'm the photographer for you. There's a category. It's actually called beauty. Like if you Google beauty photographer, you'll find more what you're looking for. Again, because I don't want to photograph something that I'm not as good at, that they don't get a great experience. Their pictures don't represent what it is they were originally looking for. And then they don't buy as many product, or maybe they leave a bad review, kind of whatever it is. You're looking for people who already like what you do.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Somebody goes to your website and says, whoa, this is so risque. I couldn't imagine taking a picture like this. Then you say, then I probably shouldn't take your picture because this is what I do,
And what made you decide on this album particularly? Because there's a ton of different. I mean, I work with several vendors.
Yeah, there are an infinite number of album companies, and if you want, you can waste days.
Right.
If you've ever been to a photography convention, there are dozens and dozens, and I found that there's a couple reasons why I went with this company. The first is of their covers. They do these snake covers. They do like a whole bunch of really cool things. It was really amazing. But they match the boxes. Each album comes with a box.
That's neat.
So this is an added level of value that this matches. The leather matches the album box. They're very inexpensive, or they're very affordable, relatively speaking, for the quality. They do a lot of boudoir. I think like over half of their business is just boudoir. So they are used to seeing images like this. They don't have a problem printing nudity. I love that I can say that they're from Italy.
Yeah.
So that's really great. And then
So what is it typically standard? Like, do you present them all these different books, and then like, hey, this is what it is, and that's how you present your packages? Okay.
exactly. So they don't choose. Come hop on in. So they don't choose what album they want until they've seen their pictures. So we might design the album first, and then they say, you know what, I actually want the 12 by 12, or I actually want the 10 by 10. And that's when they make that decision. So some people have you pre-purchase albums. Okay, you're coming in, you want to get an album. Well, the 8x8 starts at this price, so I'll take a deposit on that package. And then when you come in for your shoot, when you come in for your ordering session, then you can upgrade after that, which is fine. I just have them, make that decision during the shoot. And then what did you ask me prior? Something about flipping through the albums and the nudity aspect of it. Yep. And being like, so my client I shot a woman on Tuesday. She's a mother of a 4-year-old, super sweet woman, who when flipping through the album, she was like, I don't think I want a picture of like just my butt. Like I want to be all in the picture. I don't want it to be just about something sexual like that. So I'm like, okay, so kind of stay away from the detail shots. And she flipped through and she got to that page that you got to, and she's like really naked. And she said it in a way that was like, almost like it was jarring for her.
Yeah.
So to me, that said, okay, we're probably not going to take any pictures that are like implied nudity. I sent out a questionnaire prior that says, what do you think you'll be comfortable with? Lingerie, something casual, implied, topless, full nude. And so they say that, and then when they come in, we talk about it. But usually that's just that's where they think they'll be comfortable. So by the end of that shoot, the same woman that was like, she's like really naked. We did a shot of her laying on the floor, all stretched out, completely naked. Her hand was covering her chest, and she loved it. She bought it. That finished the album. So just because they might have a reaction to seeing somebody else in the album doesn't mean that they won't do it themselves. It just means that that's what they think they're going to be comfortable with when they're sitting in the seat, meeting me for the first time, in this space that they've never been before, doing something that they've never done before. Right. So, I always use that as kind of a starting point to gauge where they might be comfortable.
Where do you get these printed?
So this company's Floor Color, and they're great. Their customer service is really good. I've sent them. I've only had to get reprints maybe 3 times in 5 years, and every time I do, they send me. They reprint and ship out a new one the next day, and I get it in just a couple of days. So their customer service is amazing. They're easy to get a hold of. Yeah, they've been really. I can't recommend them enough. I was looking for like, let's try this or let's try that. I got lost in album companies for. I want to do matted albums where it's an actual photographic print in a matte in the album because they're so thick. So few companies do them, and they are astronomical in price. And so I ended up not doing it. But there's a bunch of different great album companies. I can't recommend these guys enough. But there's an album company for everybody. Yeah. But yeah, I've been using these guys. I've ordered from different places, but I keep coming back to these guys.
Cool.
Very cool.
So you make most of your money on the albums.
Yeah, almost all of it.
So yeah, again, maybe like just the framework of your pricing structure.
Perfect.
Of how that works.
So you can do pricing a whole bunch of different ways. I try and make it as simple as possible. I don't really have packages. It's mostly a la carte. But depending on what album you get, how much you spend, you get more credit to spend more the more you spend. It's like that. Spend $100 and get $25 in gift cards. So I've got a shoot fee, and that includes hair and makeup. Now this is to prepare my clients for spending money. So when my shoot fee was really low, they would expect to not spend very much money on the whole. As my shoot fee got higher, they started to expect more. Okay, I'm gonna just address pricing real quick before we get into outfits, and then you're thinking about perfectionism. So the first thing is I put my base prices on my website. I say it costs X amount to shoot with me. Albums and things can be purchased separately. So that weeds out a whole bunch of the people that are looking for less than the amount, or anybody who it doesn't say what they'll likely spend, because I want to build trust and I want them to call me and talk on the phone and build, get them comfortable and talk about my albums and why they cost what they do, and get them into the studio and so they can see everything and get comfortable before I hit them with closer to the price tag. So I do a shoot fee, includes hair and makeup, and then albums, everything can be purchased separately. So the smallest album, the 8x8 is, it's $1,200, and then it gives you $50 in credit to use towards extra images or whatever. So they get 18 photos with that. So 3 extra photos is like it's like $250 or $300. So if they want to use that $50 in credit, they have to spend another $200, $150, or they could just burn that $50. It's up to them. So if they get the next one, which includes 25 images, then it gives them $100 in credit. Still the same. You can either throw that away or you can use it to buy the next thing, which you end up spending more money. And if you like enough pictures, that ends up pushing you up to the next size, which is great. Once you're there, then you get $200 in credit or whatever it is. So it's sort of a tiered system that encourages a little bit more spending and a little bit more spending. So that's how I do my prices. You can do wall art. Some people do packages. If you buy, the top package, you get an album and a mini album and an accordion book and a wall art and all that stuff. And I don't do it that way because I just want people to get whatever it is that they want. I want them to feel, motivated to buy them, but I don't want them to be like, this piece of wall art is now sitting in my closet behind a whole bunch of clothes because I didn't really want it in the first place, but I wanted this, so I bought something that I didn't really, I don't know. So that's why I do it that way. So any questions on that? Okay. So now we were chatting about, if you feel confident enough to get, if a woman calls you up and is like, okay, so I'm curious about a boudoir shoot, give me the spiel. How you feel about like being able to answer those questions or getting started, and what hesitations you have with.
So I would say for me, it's not, never having the conversation. So I'd probably want to
lay out, like have someone, just have a friend call me and be like, hey, pretend you're a client and call me or speak with someone like you, someone who's already in the industry. But if someone were to call me right now, I really wouldn't know where to start. I wouldn't know, like, hey, thanks for calling. I'm Jose Mesa. Nice to, thanks for reaching out. And then if they respond, hey, I hear you're a photographer, and I wouldn't know how to lead into, well, this is what the process is going to be like because I haven't done the process.
Perfect.
Right.
So when you're thinking about setting up your first couple of shoots, you said you sometimes have a hard time getting started because you feel like everything has to be perfect.
Yeah, correct.
So I can guarantee you that your first boudoir pictures will be crap. So if you don't want to start until it's perfect, you'll never start. It's just the nature of literally anything. And I know how painful it can be to start. I've been playing tennis for like 30 years, and I went out and I took my first tennis lesson in like 12 years yesterday, and he changed everything about my forehand. And the first ball that came to me, I literally couldn't move my feet because I was thinking about so many other things. The ball just bounced before I could reach for it. And so it's very painful to do something that you're not great at, especially when you're first starting. That's why photographers never start shooting video. That's why most people don't learn new languages. That's like the barrier of entry that keeps so many people from starting their businesses. So if you know that and you're willing to go through those first couple of shoots where you know your pictures aren't very good. My first boudoir shoot was bad. It was bad. It looked like somebody just purchased a speed light and they were excited to use it for anything, and they didn't know how to direct the model because I didn't know how to direct the model. And it's hilarious to go back and look at that because the look on her face is blank in every picture. She looks like a cardboard cutout essentially. But that's where I started. So that's going to happen. And you know what? If that person has a really good time shooting with you and they write, oh my gosh, like I never thought I would ever do anything in my life like this, but Jose made it so fun and easy. You're more likely to book the next person than you are if you shoot and shoot and shoot and don't post anything. You never ask for a referral or any of those things. Or maybe you wait until you have the perfect space to shoot. You wait until you do enough research on editing. You wait until you have a pricing guide. You wait until any of these things. Like I guarantee you, the person who is shooting, if their pictures are good or bad, is making more money than the person who is still doing research or the person who is still building their website.
And you touched on something like really important. So like I know like my very first engagement shoot was just crap. And I did it for free. I was just trying to build my portfolio. But talking about your tennis, like your mind was so fixed on what your coach just told you to do that you're not able, like you literally can't think about anything else. And it'd be the same thing on my first boudoir shoot or my first engagement shoot. I'm so concerned about my settings on my camera or the silence in between me and the client.
It's gonna be very quiet your first shoot.
So
I did a photo shoot and I had a client say, I want to do a night shoot. And I had never done a night shoot before. I knew I was bad at it, so I set up a test shoot. I found somebody on Instagram. She emailed me. She's like, do you ever need models? I'm like, can you shoot tomorrow? I've got this shoot coming up. She came out. The pictures are terrible. I have one photo from 2 hours that I like. But because of that, when my client came in, her pictures were really good. She spent a lot of money and I gave her a great experience because the first shoot, I was looking at my camera and I was checking the light and I was trying to get my white balance right. What am I gonna do? Where am I gonna place this lamp? Do lamps even look good? Do I need to use a softbox? All of those things. And when my paying client came in for the shoot, everything was with her. I was like, okay, I worked all that stuff out. By the end of my other shoot, I figured out the way that I wanna do it. Now I can just be me. I can work with the client. I can engage her. So absolutely, that's the nature of getting started. But if you want, again, that's the whole point. The reason why so many other people haven't started shooting boudoir, so many guys haven't started shooting boudoir is because they're worried about what are women gonna think, what are their fiancés gonna think, what if I don't have a space, all of those things. But in any case, whether it's tennis, the person who's out playing tennis versus watching a video on YouTube, the person out playing tennis is gonna get better faster than the person watching the video. The person doing the shoot, the person working with the model, the person emailing potential models to shoot, that person is going to be getting more work, hands down, than the person who's wants to read 1,000 articles first, which sounds counterintuitive. I want to know everything that I need to know, but the truth is unless you get out there and you do it, it's never going to get started.